Colts, really playing good football right now. I think offensively, I don't think they've punted. They've been really, really good moving the ball. I think Jonathan Taylor's playing really good. Their offensive line is strong. Their group of skill players is dynamic. They've had quite a few explosive plays. They do a nice job complementing all their different players in their different roles. I think Daniel Jones is doing exactly what they want him to do. He's playing really efficient. He's going to the right place with the ball. Good coaching staff over there. I think Shane and Jim Bob on offense do an excellent job. And on defense, a familiar friend of mine, a very good friend of mine and very good coach in Lou Anarumo. Changing scheme. Played him last year in Cincy, have some familiarity with the scheme, but very multiple, very aggressive, very different than what they've run last year when we played the Colts. Those guys are doing a really nice job on defense, taking the ball away. I think they're second in the league maybe in takeaways. They've turned the ball over on teams. They play with the lead. They've done a really nice job complementing each other in all three phases, really. And their special teams group is a very good one. So good divisional matchup. All that stuff is what it is, but we got to go play well. We get divisional games at home are always really important, and we're going to go out there and try to get ourselves a divisional win this week.
Brian, when you look at the sacks and the situation that's been with the offensive line, how much of it has been guys just not winning at the point of attack versus guys being put in disadvantageous situations with long yards and things like that?
That's a little bit of both. We've certainly had a loss or two in just pure technique and blocking one-on-one. There's been some other times where the coverage has been solid and we've had to hold the ball an extra second, so they're blocking longer than normal. And then there's some other things in terms of the running backs, and we've missed a protection or two that have given up some heat. So it's a combination, as always, but certainly need to play better there against this particular group. And the interior of this defense is really good between Stewart and 99, man. Those guys are really good players. So we got to work cut out for us on the interior for sure.
When you're going up against a defensive scheme like the Colts, what are some keys or must-dos for your offense, including the quarterback?
You have to see the post snap. There's a lot of things that change in the time between lining up on the ball and snapping the ball. Pressure package is multiple. He's got every pressure. So what they are for us this week, you got to be ready for a multitude of things, and the quarterbacks are ready to handle those, whether they're protection checks or they're quick throws or quick answers. Those things, there's a lot on the quarterback to manage when you play a defense like this. I think Cam's up to the task, and he'll be prepared for it. But it's always one of those games where you're likely to see something maybe you haven't necessarily prepared for or they haven't done in 12 weeks or 2 years or something like that. Lou's got quite a bit of defense at his disposal. He's got a deep bag, if you will. So we got to be ready to play our rules at the end of the day, which is always what you got to do when you're facing teams that do a lot of different things and try to keep you off balance. So plenty on Cam's plate this week for sure, and then we got to do well around him to help that.
How's JC, and if you anticipate going the same direction if he can't go?
Yeah, we'll see how that goes throughout the week. If he can't go, obviously both Ole and Juice have played. We got to find a little bit of continuity there if we can, but we'll see how practice goes and see how those guys do during the week.
What's a reasonable expectation for that third tackle?
Just like anybody who comes in, our expectation is to be able to do the job. Are they going to go shut down one-on-one top-tier pass rushers for 35 pass dropbacks? Probably not, but we got to do our part to help, and they got to do their part and play. Anybody who plays in a backup role is expected to come in and do the job, and at least effectively enough to put us in position to win.
When you were looking for offensive line depth over the offseason, I think you guys signed 5 or 6 players. Just what were you searching for, and to what degree do you think you found it?
Offensive line depth is something that everybody's searching for all the time. Every team in the league is searching for offensive line depth. They're trying to find guys that have played or at the very least have traits that you think you can develop. Tackles it's hard to find 3 tackles that are all, top end starting caliber tackles. Nobody has that. But everybody's trying to find guys that can go in and compete and play well and know what to do and how to do it. That's always a part of it. And hopefully the guys that have some experience, which both Juice and Ole do. And then you're looking for young players to develop. And I think you look around the league, a lot of teams at the cut down probably kept 9, 10, 11 linemen in some cases, and that's just where the NFL is at right now in terms of the total depth of line play across the league, and the amount of players that can play those positions is not there's not a lot of them on the planet. So you do your best to find guys that can function.
Nick said yesterday that he feels more comfortable with the O-line depth this year maybe than last year. Do you agree with that assessment?
I think from top to bottom, I feel a lot better about it. I think Blake Hance is a proven player that can play inside, outside. He started games in this league and played well. I think Corey Levin's proven, over the course of an entire offseason that he's a very capable interior backup. And, like I said, both Ole and Juice have played in games. And so I feel good about the guys that have played, and we got to play better than we have, certainly. But I do feel good about the depth and the guys that we do have, and got some young players in Crenshaw Dixon on the practice squad, and Jackson Slater who are developing and coming along. So feel good about that spot.
You're talking about Hance as an inside-outside possibility. Why does it seem like he's not a tackle possibility at this stage?
He's still more of an inside player than an outside player, but he can get you out of a spot in a pinch, which he's done. He's proven he's done it over his career in different spots. But again, not something that you put him at tackle, you lose your interior, your interior swing, interior depth. So it's always a puzzle piece on how you move those guys around and put them together. But yeah, he's done it before.
I think your frontliners have been on the interior, I guess, and especially Cush, maybe just getting back in the flow of things again.
Yeah, you see Cush coming back. There's definitely that residual from not practicing over the course of training camp, and getting your strength back and your legs back and your pads back set the way you're used to feeling when you're in there. I think every week he's gotten better. And I've been pleased with Cush. I think he's only going to continue to feel more comfortable as he keeps playing, just like any guys that are coming back from injury and have missed the amount of time that he missed. I think Zeitler's been a physical presence for us inside. We've moved the line of scrimmage, particularly running behind him, quite a bit over the first 2 weeks. Been pleased with him, and I think Pete has probably quietly been a pretty strong performer for us, both in the run game and the pass game. So feel good about the interior. I think they're still coming along and still getting better. I think we can still continue to get better, but I've been pretty pleased with those guys so far.
The Iron Manor and Ward combination, how do you like where that's starting to go, especially coming off of this past game? What can you guys do this week to further take advantage?
Yeah, I think every time you see guys connect like that in a game and get on the same page, we threw that one route in a third down to Ellick, kind of back shoulder style route that Cam threw in the Denver game and missed it, and it was the exact same style route. It was just good to see them get on the same page, communicate, work on it, and then come back the next week and hit it. And I think that's what you're looking for from a youth perspective and development, of understanding what we want from them and then figuring out, what it takes to make the play. And that was really a positive thing to see Ellick perform in the game. The game is not too big for him. He's been everything that we were hoping he could be, as far as that kind of X-receiver style with his size and his speed and his strength. He's proven now that he can go, combat catch with guys in this league, and we just got to keep coming along. He's done a really nice job.
And being opposite, really, there, of course, like in Denver, he's going to get that one-on-one safety shaded over. How much of a green light does Cam have to look at him and check to that and then take that shot?
Yeah, all the time. Anytime he gets to look for it, we're good to go, and that's good. I think having relatively unknown player to start out, now starting to make a bit of a name for himself as a good receiver thus far, as in his first 2 games out. And it's got to keep coming. He hasn't arrived yet by any stretch, but having 2 good outside receivers that both have some speed and have some different things we can use from a skill set perspective is great. And I'm really excited to see the rest of those guys keep coming too.
Cam is such a confident quarterback. How comfortable do you think he is already? And this really is any rookie quarterback drafted where he's been, in terms of being honest about, I didn't like this, I didn't do this, I can't do that. Because he obviously wants to present the image that he's capable of doing these things.
Sure. I think he's done a really good job with that. He's not afraid to tell me something he doesn't like, which is really what I'm most concerned about. Most quarterbacks are going to tell you they like a lot of things, because they generally do, especially if it's just involved with throwing the ball. Of course, he's going to like those things. I'm really the most concerned, though, about things that he really doesn't like. That means more to me, because as long as a quarterback's fine with whatever the concept is, they generally can make it work. It's the ones where they're not certain or they don't feel good about it, but maybe they're afraid to say something because they think, I like it or it matters to me. It doesn't. If the quarterback doesn't like it, I'm not calling it, because they generally tend to not play well in those situations when they don't feel confident with the play. So he's been really good, and that's things we've worked on over the course of training camp. And as you're banking reps on plays, like I need to know, hey, how do you feel about this particular play? You don't like it, or you don't like the throw, or maybe the route's not what you're expecting. We won't do it, and that's the feedback I need from him, more so than what he does like. Because again, most guys like a lot of things, but it's the very specific things that you're not comfortable with that guys sometimes have a harder time of sharing, and he doesn't have that issue at all. He's very honest about what he likes and what he doesn't.
Kennard said yesterday that he needs Sweat out there because he's an impact player who can affect what goes on in the back seven behind him and all. How's he doing, and is he ready for a full load this week?
Good. Hopeful to see him get back into the practice mix here this week. Hopeful. We'll see how the week plays out. But yeah, he's an impact player in a run game, certainly. And when he's playing at his best, he's a really nice tandem with Jeff, and he makes our football team better. So would love to have him. Especially against this group this week. They've run the ball well through the first 2 weeks and got a really good back and a good offensive line. So having as many good players on the front that we can have that are big and strong and physical is what we're looking for. So we'll see ultimately where that shakes out this week, but I definitely would love to have him back.
Brian, a bit off topic, but how do you approach half times? Like when you have such a limited amount of time to make adjustments, making sure guys understand what they need to do before heading out for the third quarter. What's kind of your philosophy on that?
You try to get at least maybe the first drive out of the third quarter ready to roll, kind of preview some things. The only thing that we spend the most time on is just going back through any protection issues that we got to put up on the screen. That's really the bulk of the time is, it ends up feeling like 3 minutes. It's probably like 5 or 6. It's not that much time at halftime when it's all said and done. Try to preview kind of the next handful of things that are coming, but those are all conversations that we have in between series, sort of the entirety of the game. I do think, as I've said before, there's a little bit of a overblown nature of like halftime adjustments that gets thrown around. There's just not a lot of time at halftime, and those conversations are ongoing. After every series, we're having conversations about how we're being played, what the counter is to the next play, what was good before we need to come back to, where do we need to continue to head, or what part do we need to get away from.Ose conversations are ongoing. They happen the entirety of the game. So the halftime thing is what it is. There's a little bit of time to have a conversation or two further, but for the most part, it's just a continuation of what we'd already been talking about leading up to it.
Did you say you are able to put stuff up on video for guys to see in that?
Not video. We can bring the surface down. Like, there's the normal sideline tablets, and we plug it into a projector, and we can go through, we can annotate on those pictures over the course of the game. So we make notes and do stuff. So we go through during the series. You just flip through them and the notes are on there. But then any particular pressure looks or something we want to make sure we hit again, you can pull that picture up and talk through it on an overhead, but no video.
I understand what you're saying about the potential for massive adjustments in that time period being overblown. But considering how your second halves have gone, should you not perhaps be looking to expand what you do during that time?
Yeah, we're always looking to try to improve that process and whatever we think we need to do from a communication standpoint, from a presentation standpoint to the players. Clearly we got to perform better in the second half and particularly in the fourth quarter. And, we look at all that stuff. If we can better maximize our time, better present the information in the moment. Those are all things that we look at, and we've done that a couple different ways and looked at some things that maybe can help us. And so, yes, the answer ultimately is yes, we do look at that.
Back through the tape, the Rams game, what were some of the things you felt like you could do to maybe help the offensive line out when you were under duress?
I would say just continue to get through progressions faster, especially backside. Moving on from my first read pre-snap, and then just giving my guys a chance because we won, especially Ellie and Red, they won a lot of the backside routes that I didn't get to, where I had to step up. And then just really getting better in the pocket, moving within the pocket, keeping a short stride, getting the ball out.
And I think they officially timed it on a touchdown pass that Jim ball for over 8 seconds. What did it feel like during that time? And maybe when you look back at it, is it pretty hard to believe that you held on the ball for 8 seconds and were still able to get a pass on it?
Nah. It's something I've done before in my career. I think the best thing about it is that just the receivers and the O-line, they continue to play outside of it. Especially receivers just running around the back of the end zone, finding space, and then give me the opportunity to throw it to Elliott. But that's something we practiced scrum drill, and it came to life in the game.
That play, Cam, though, is that an example of you still being able to do what it is you want to do out there again from when you were in college?
I think so. I think the biggest difference from college and NFL is just the rush in the pocket. Whether it's from the D tackles or the defensive end, it gets there faster in college. But at the end of the day, you can make the same amount of plays.
What do you feel like Cam made the biggest strides from week 1 to week 2, and maybe what are some areas that got to go to another level for you guys to start scoring more and winning games?
I think attention to detail, getting in and out of huddle as fast, and I also think just the overall urgency has to continue to go up each week. And then just emphasize scoring the football, not settling for field goals, and then just continue playing together.
What's the biggest thing that needs to change for you guys to finish strong in the second half and in the fourth quarter?
I just think we got to continue to play hard. At times, whether it's a low first or in the end of the game, whatever quarter it is, there could be a low there, but we just got to continue to fight through it. And that's something that, a coach can't coach you. You got to come within the locker room. We just got to continue to get better.
What are some of the things that stand out to you when you look at the Colts defense?
I think they play real hard, especially their defensive front. I think their DB core is solid. I think they know how to play well together. I just think overall defensively, their DC, he's going to put those guys in good situations. So, we got to end up making plays on the perimeter, making plays in the run game, and, continue to stay on schedule.
Callahan had mentioned that green light that you have, if Elliott is out there one-on-one, the safety shaded over, et cetera. Like, how much do you like being able to have control of orchestrating a big play like that?
I like it a lot because it simplifies the game. At the end of the day, you can always take a one-on-one matchup. It's just really your guy versus their guy, and our guy got to win at the end of the day. So me and him going to continue to connect on plays like that. He reps those plays every day in practice. He knows what releases he loves doing. So he makes my job easier.
Knowing how much you do like to get vertical like that, there were a few times the locket may have been open underneath and things like that. Like, is it tough to come off that vertical desire and go to some of those checkdowns sometimes?
No, it's not tough coming off of it. I think it's just more realizing faster, whether it's the coverage or whether if the DB's playing so over the top of the receiver, you got to get through it faster. And so I just think just over time, the more we rep a play, the more install we have on the plays, just continue to get better for me.
I know there are throwaways and drops that factor in, but when you see a completion percentage just a touch north of 50, does that concern you? And are you conscious of that number at all? You have a target or anything like that?
Nah, I really don't care about completion percentage. I want to score touchdowns. I want to win football games. We 0-2, and so we just gotta continue to stick to the process. We have to get a win this week in the divisional game. That matters a lot. Just try to get the foot rolling.
Cam, how would you say you are embracing the divisional opener, just in general, but also with it being against the Colts who are playing so well?
I embrace it a lot. The team embraces it. We know every divisional game, that's when best football has to be played both sides of the ball. So we know the stakes of this game. But at the end of the day, we just got to continue to play good football for 4 quarters. We can't, just play for good for 3 quarters. We got to continue to play the whole game.
How much did you know, Cam, about Alex' style of play way back when he was drafted, with you? How much did you know about that, and what have you learned about it since? What have you learned about his style?
I knew a lot of him, especially him being in Pac-12 at Stanford. I got a chance to play against him a couple times. But he's always been a physical receiver who's good at 50-50 balls, who can win off press man with his releases. I think he doesn't give enough credit for how fast he is and how supposed to be is. So it's good that we were able to steal him. He's going to continue to make plays for us, but he for sure makes my job easier.
Brian brought up how comfortable you are giving feedback and receiving feedback from the coaching staff as you kind of figure out what works and what doesn't. How valuable have the games been to kind of determining that as far as the playbook versus what you guys may have seen out here in practice?
It's been easier, especially with Callie giving me that authority, whether I like a play or I don't like a play, where I want to cut it throughout the week or if I want to leave it. But I think the best thing about it that, he's allowing me to, every game, just get more free and more free. He's opening up for me. He's making me see it from not only my point of view, but the whole perspective point of view, especially the play caller's point of view, his point of view. They also just continue to, put the ball in space, let my guys make plays.
What's the biggest key for you guys to extend drives this week, get into the end zone more than you have, and how can you influence the offense?
I would say where we're not the best at right now is probably once we hit midfield. It could be a load there. Or before we get to the red zone. I think that's the more we got to emphasize, bringing our best ball, bringing more urgency right there. Just got to continue to, try to gain explosives in the run game and the pass game.
Do you feel like your teammates are matching your mentality, your intensity? And is that something you have to teach them to do, or is that something you kind of just want to see them come to on their own time?
Everybody has their own mentality. As a team, we have our own mentality. But I think the biggest thing is, like, we grown men. We don't really need someone to motivate us every day. We know what we signed up for. We just got to, lock in 4 quarters. We try to do that this week, try to get our first win.
Brian said that, your eyes usually are always downfield, even as you're moving in the pocket to try and create a play down the field. Do you feel like, though, that with this offense kind of struggling, maybe you're going to have to take off and use your legs a little bit more, maybe just to move the chains and give the team a spark?
Nah, I think we average 4 yards a run. So I don't think I have to really run that much. I would say just really key situations or a certain coverage they play where I have to run and get a first down. But the scheme just allows us all to, play within our talents. So, I'm not too worried about that.
How problematic is DeForest Buckner's length for you? As an interior lineman, it's about 6'6".
He's different, especially, what he's done in his career. He makes sure that, he tries to get his one-on-ones. But, he's someone that you have to get the ball out, fast against. Don't give him a chance to get started. And they really try to continue to play on schedule.
What adjustments can you make to kind of better protect the ball in the pocket? Obviously, you don't want to fumble like you had in the first quarter, last game on Sunday. What adjustments do you think you can make there in that front?
Just keeping 2 hands on the ball. Just always knowing where my outlet is and, trying to get grass in a new stadium.
Who ended up with that football run from the first touchdown pass? What are you going to do with it?
I don't know yet. We're gonna see about that one. Me and Elliot still got to talk.
Still talking about it? Okay. He seemed like he was deferring to you, but
me and him still got to talk about it. I'm trying to get him a second one this week.
Callahan said he wanted to see more continuity up front. How have you kind of adjusted to what seems to be a little bit of plug and play, especially on that right side?
I think it's really my job helping them, especially with just the knowing why Coach Callahan is calling this certain play, and then also understanding the protection standpoint of it, and then just giving my guys a chance to make a play, getting it out fast, and just helping them out. Especially last week, I took a couple bad sacks when the ball should have been out, but that's just something that I'm learning every day, playing with new guys, especially like you said, when you rotate the offensive linemen, then just helping those guys out.
Have you mentioned the new drafts to anyone in particular, wanting it, or is that just some kind of a joke?
No, I ain't mentioning yet. It'll get mentioned eventually. But we practice on grass while we don't play on grass.
Last one, Court. This is Florida-Miami week. That was obviously a big week for you. You only got to play it one time, but your feelings on that memory and that rivalry?
That rivalry was, especially when I was there, it was way better than the Florida State rivalry. Florida rivalry was way better than that one. But I think you know what Miami doing this year, especially offensively. Them boys, they still making plays out there. Carson have a hell of a year right now. And then defensively, them boys flying around, they playing together. But we see which way Miami going. I think we all know where this game finna go. They got to come to Hard Rock, so it ain't easy to win over there at Hard Rock.